And we are live. Welcome back to On the King's Dime. It is Monday night, Easter Monday, the 5th of April. We're here to discuss a double game week, last week's game week. Perth, a couple of rapid fire games against Perth, and then the Brisbane game, which was a much more low key, unassuming affair where we just dispatched Brisbane in a run of the mill type of game. Discuss both those games rather. As always, you can find us on Facebook. We're live at the moment on Facebook, and we will be putting these up on YouTube, and we're also in audio form. You can listen to us on the Apple Podcast platform, on Google Podcasts, and this goes out onto Spotify because it is on the Anchor platform. So that's pretty sweet. If you want to listen to us on Spotify, then do that. We do have a video coming out. We have recorded it. It's like going to be one of those ones where we record it first, and we're going to talk about the game. Just kind of talking about these two Perth games. So that'll drop this week. I'm going to edit it probably tomorrow and drop it maybe Thursday or Friday. So keep an eye out for that. And then we'll talk about 3-2-1s and all that sort of stuff, MVP and the tips and the preview of this week's games. But first things first, this Perth game in Perth. After what was a wretched display at home,
Yeah. They definitely bounced back. There was bounce back. There was fight. There was spirit. And yeah, that game was, going back and talking about the video that we just we've kind of done. It was eye opening, man. Because in the live feed, you're kind of like, well, is this right? Is this wrong? But yeah, this is definitely an eye opening experience.
So on the game, I thought we played like it was a reaction. I remember saying, I wanted to see a reaction from this team. Like we could lose it badly, as long as we see something out of this team. And I think we saw, probably one of our better performances this season. Even though it was a loss, I thought we played at a level where it was an acceptable game to get upset about. Because I've sort of mentioned a few times this season, like games like this are hard to take as losses, and the other games where you just lose a run of the mill game against kind of the Breakers maybe or someone like that, you kind of just like, I guess this team's not that great. But then in the heat of the moment against a Perth or a United, I get drawn into these games and I'm just like, I just really want to win this game. And then to come away with a loss after such a such a hardy performance, it kind of hurts, man. You're just like, oh man, I hate that.
Bad calls down the stretch. Just carry that thought. My dog wants to go out very quickly.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll take it one man. So it was a 95-89 loss. In a game that I think we were down 2 at halftime. Two quarters. The first quarter we came out playing quite good defense. But then down the stretch of the second half, we'll definitely talk about those calls near the end. A couple of dodgy ones. We did have a look at some of the footage and that, so we've got them fresh in the brain. But in terms of performances, Casper Ware, 27 points on the night. I think looking at that in terms of against Cotton, we haven't seen Casper have games. I'm just sort of saying we haven't seen Casper have games against Cotton where you're just like, wow, like Casper won this matchup. Like we've seen games where you're just like both of them are great, and we've definitely seen games where it's just like, oh man, Cotton's just really got something over Casper at the moment. But I thought this was a game where he kind of vanquished that demon a little bit.
He played well. He played really well, and he played well defensively. And there's some calls, and we could probably talk about this. Some bad foul calls on him early, and then later in the game, which probably even diminished his ability to defend further. But also some bad switches down low. He should not be defending the post in this series against some better bigs. But yeah, man, it's we don't want to say there was some serious home cooking by a local ref. Let's just put it that way. Adam Ford's.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that 40 rant because that got a lot of traction.
I think I don't believe it was rant. I believe it was the most precise, calculated. Without whinging, it didn't seem like, oh, but this is well, this is the facts. This is what happened. Does it determine did we were we going to win anyway? I don't know, but it doesn't help.
Yeah.
But these are the facts. Perth gets an extra 4.7 fouls per game against every team at home for the last 3 years.
That was pretty full on to hear that. I was like, wow.
That was just like, what the
Synergy probably popped that one up.
Yeah. And, just the fact that, over the last couple of games, Geordie just gets reffed off the floor continuously. Tommy V gets screen fouls against him that are the legal screens, and then you watch some of what Mooney screens are and Mitch Norton screens, are just completely illegal, and they just don't get called.
Yeah, Wagstaff's a bit of a culprit as well for some of those.
Yeah. So, no, I think it was the most. Look, what was most eye-opening is the fact that the league knows and just says, we ref based off reputation. Perth don't do that, so we're going to ref them different. And if that's actually the case, man, that's a disgraceful outcome in Australian sport.
So that was kind of what he was alluding to, though, right? In some of the stuff that he was saying, because it was a 15-minute kind of tirade. I had to watch it a few times to kind of get just where he was going with it. I think one of the sentiments I took away from it was, it's not about individual moments. It's not about that call cost us a game, this call cost us a game, this did this did that. It's more about like it has an overall effect on what's happening in this game. And you mentioned that Casper, gets 2 early fouls, a couple of dodgy ones, and then gets another foul as a dodgy one, and then down the stretch of that game, maybe he plays defense a little differently, or maybe, they scheme a little bit differently, and the team schemes a little bit differently. They're more hesitant. And I thought he articulated that quite well. It was a little bit convoluted and all over the place, but he kind of articulated the fact that it's not just about calls. Like, it's about how this messes with rotations. You as a team start to go, oh, well, they're calling us, so I'll lighten it up a little bit, and that allows another team to, get going and that sort of thing. And the defense we played, man, in that game was really like strong on ball, a lot of high blitzing of Cotton, and I thought he had one of his worst games I've seen him play against us. And in a while, like in the a couple of shockers sort of to start, not shockers, but a couple of games we went, oh, okay, start of this season. But in the last 2 seasons, man, I haven't seen him in terms of a scheme on defense be defended that well.
Yeah.
And it was everyone. It was DJ. It was, Mola pitching in on those high blitzes. It was, Jarrell, if he was going down low, he was trailing him really well. And then Casper's strong on ball. I think Casper's kind of got the body. If he can keep his speed up, because I'd made that comment that, Cotton's got the crippling combination of speed, and once you get on his shoulder, he'll get a foul 9 times out of 10. And that's kind of important if you're trying to scheme as a team, but at the same time, it's one of the demons that Casper needs to vanquish, because I think he still has the speed to play on-ball defense on him, but he also has the power that Cotton doesn't have. So if you can kind of mix and match those two together, I think if we come up against them later in the season.
It's just the way, like if he was to play against Sobey and he overwhelmed Sobey physically, he would not be called for half the fouls that he's called for against Cotton. Cotton literally is wrapped in cotton wool, man. You cannot touch the dude. He is a very intelligent player, and he plays to his strengths, but his strengths are very much dominated by poor screens, and the video that comes out shows you that. Is the amount of room he gets on moving screens is absurd. And so he's allowed to get well open. But, you look at DJ and some of the hooking that they do around screens that very rarely gets called. It may get called once or twice. But, you set a screen, or Geordie gets called for a screen where he's clearly planted. He's clearly planted. And it, Cotton flails, and then it's a call, or
he flailed. Give it.
He flailed.
Whistle. He flailed.
He moved, and that's illegal.
Yeah.
You can't move Bryce Cotton. I don't want to sound like a kind of a sour kind of.
Look, I think to take it back out of context a little bit. I think as fans we can get like that. We get very just like, this is just great. I can't believe this. I think we can, but as a coach, back to that rant or back to his press conference. I thought he did quite well just articulating everything and just going, there's a strong sentiment of the way it changes games. And I think that's an important way to deliver that message to the referees. Gets sanctioned and everyone's just like, yeah, whatever, no one cares, bro. Gets a fine and then, suspended sentence. Who cares about that? But also the fact that that revelation where it was just we ref teams differently. On pedigree and stuff like that. I was like, whoa, man. I thought that was super important for him to actually come out and stake his own reputation on and say, if that's true, man, that's whoa, that's a huge, blow it all up, blow the thing wide open, man. And let's have a look at what's happening here, because
let's get different refs in next year. I mean, I don't see young refs or old refs or experienced refs. If you're reffing a game based on the 50-50 calls are always going to go one way because the reputation of that team is that they don't do that. Or Geordie's going to get ref one way because his reputation is he's handsy. So if that player foul, he must have fouled. Okay, then if that's the case, well, why is it that when Adam Ford sends video through saying he's traveling or that's a moving screen and he keeps setting moving screens and you're not calling it, then why do the refs don't go, okay, well, let's actually have a bit of a closer look at this game or against Melbourne or against Brisbane or against, oh, yeah, he's actually doing that. Okay, let's change it up. It's just seems like the last 3 seasons, Perth just get reffed very differently to the rest of the league. But for the ref boss to come out and actually admit that's the biggest revelation of that night. It's not that
if it's true. I mean, to look at it from our angle, it's kind of like, why would he say it if it wasn't true?
Hold on a minute. Why wouldn't the league come out and say what Adam Ford has said is unequivocally wrong?
Yeah, that's the other angle. Yeah,
they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't come out and go, no, nobody ever said that. They didn't have that conversation. They kind of just went, fine, cop that, shut up.
Yeah, but to me, if I'm the league and, hardcore fans are going, well, how are we ever meant to win a 5-game series against Perth when Perth's going to be at home because they're going to get ref differently? What the fuck why am I watching this game for? Why am I investing my Saturdays or my, hard-earned dollars to take my family to a game that the outcome is predetermined and we're watching WWE wrestling?
What did I say to an MMA gauntlet at one end and then parading guys to the line at the other? And sometimes it feels like that. I mean, a lot more will come out in our video. Like we went through sort of a lot of what was happening in both of those games. And it's important, I think, as a league to understand that if that's true, then it kind of does need to be blown open. Like if it's 40 who's made these comments and said, yes, this needs to be blown wide open, then I commend him just cosmically for doing that. I'm like, definitely, like if they've said that to you, man, that's a total rubbish. Like that's actually happening, and it's kind of massaging a team to the league, if to the championship, if that's what. And it kind of puts into perspective some of that stuff at the end of last season where they were just like, crown them, and then sticking it down people's throats. They were crowned champions, so celebrate it. Everyone's just being like, whoa, just calm down. Like, it's been 2 days. Why are we crowning them 2 days after like one team was like, yeah, we got guys on our roster that need to go to their country. So we, do you want us to play with 7 men, or do you want us to, send the guys that need to go home? Stuff like that.
Can you charter a flight and we don't get on a flight because literally the last flight to Perth had people that were infected? Like,
even that. Remember that? That was like, whoa, they're all on a plane with a confirmed case. Like, oh. But anyway, like I totally applauded. That was great press conference, and I thought he did a really good job articulating that. And even, what this season is in the context of how this season goes, I was kind of like, it galvanized my respect for him. I'm like, you know what? I like 40. I like him as a coach. I think it'll cloud a little bit of the judgment of just how good or bad, spoiler alert, we're going to do the half season review soon. So we'll definitely talk about it in a wider context. But I still was like, that's the dude I want in my foxhole, man. Like, I thought it was a really good coaching moment from him.
At the beginning of the year, I wasn't sure because, I'd seen a little bit last year under Will Weaver, obviously when 40 taken over the game, and it went very much a Casper-centric kind of down the line. Couple of the early games this year, very Casper-centric down the line. And then we saw, Newley taking the last shot one game, and we thought, okay, this is a play dialed up differently. Okay, 40's not just going to be relying upon that. And we kind of lashed him in the first couple of rounds like, yeah, why is Casper taking a 3 when we only need 2? We need to get inside kind of thing. And that cost us a game, and we've had some tight games that haven't agreed with the last final plays and some of the, the stretch rotations coming down with DG off the floor and things like that. But it seems like as the season's gone on, he's got more confidence in more plays, and it seems like it's a more well-rounded team than last year. And we're able to get more out of more players. It seems like everyone's contributing to that team, not just the Bogut, Ware, and Kevin Lish show, which really was last year. I mean, we didn't really see much of Geordie.
I miss Lish, but man, I wish he was still out there.
Man, that's so good. He's such a great on-ball defender. It's such a shame his ankle was just complete mush. We saw him on the sidelines. He looked about 21, just suiting up for university, man.
Could we draft this guy? Bring him in. So let's quickly just talk about the performances, the individual performances, as well as the team performances as a whole. Shout out to everyone in the comments. There's a few comments there. We're not good at reading out comments because we don't usually get them. Justin Patrick says 40's rant was phenomenal. Valid. Hopefully a bit of a wake-up call to the league. I agree. I definitely think the league needs a bit of a wake-up call. And Paulie Fox saying also Perth won the NBL Cup on the road. Kings need to forget about one game in Perth where calls went against us. Yeah, fair enough. I think that as well. I think, we need to kind of just go, that happened. 40 said his piece. Let's move on. Let's try and push on down the road as well.
I agree with that, but that wasn't just on the road. Watch our video. This is what I'm going to say, Paul, is watch the video.
Yeah.
It's ref differently in our arenas. It's ref differently in Melbourne's arena. It's ref differently in Adelaide's arena. And that's the big difference, right? Is that, yes, they do get a lot of home calls, but, they're ref differently outside of their home environment as well. Yes, they're a really good team, but they're a really good team because they kind of get into the illegal just a little bit too much. And I think that's where the reputation calls of what 40 said is really, I hope this is a wake-up call for the ref boss saying, well, Mooney's needs to stop moving on screens. They're traveling 6 and 7 times a game.
Don't keep the powder dry for the video.
Like it's embarrassing how much they do this stuff, and it just doesn't get called. And then sometimes I won't spoiler alert, but I call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Some of the Caspers is clearly flopping. Some of the Gerald Martin's clearly not contact. So it goes both ways. But I think that
it was definitely like an honest assessment. I thought when we were kind of looking at the footage, you will see that though. So definitely keep your eyes out for that in the next couple of days. Let's quickly just talk about DJ. 6 points in this game, 3 of 13. Bit of struggler, and since kind of I made that big bold, like crown him, he's the rookie of the year. He's kind of just cooled off a little bit, taking less shots.
Shooters are going to have a slump, man. He's a shooter.
He's a young man.
He doesn't get calls.
He doesn't get calls at all.
Barreled.
And even on the commentary, they just love being like, he's not taking shots, man. He's taking less shots. I think in the last 3 games in a row, they've mentioned it, or I can't remember who the commentator is, but he's mentioned it. He's like, I've looked into the numbers. He was taking 13 shots. Now he's only taking 7.
Yeah, and as well.
Let's say again.
Gerald Martin was out for 4 weeks.
Yeah, that was another part of it too, yeah.
DJ's the guy that's going to step up into that role and say, hey, I'm going to take 6 of Gerald Martin's shot and Casper's going to take the other 4, and it's going to be high volume, man. You've got a great import who's played 190 odd games in the NBA, who's clearly in a league of his own as a power forward in this league. You got to use him. You got to go to him. It's high percentage, and DJ at 40 or Jarrell at 50. What do you want to take?
And I think like once he gets integrated, because I'm wondering if DJ was on ball and there was not a Sean Bruce and Casper Ware equation in there. Like obviously they are the equation because that's part of the team, but if he was kind of more on ball, I'm wondering if he would be a little bit better at scoring the ball with Jarrell. Seems that because he's off ball, he's kind of a little bit like looking for his spot, coming around, screening action and stuff like that. It's not really his go-to game. And then when you got a ball-dominant guy like Casper, I kind of it's a little bit all over the place. And I still think even though like while Jarrell was out, he had a chance to just step into that role. Now he's got to step into sideways into another role. I think that's the part he's kind of struggling with.
Well, I think as well as that, you have to remember when Jarrell was out, Diddy was out as well. Diddy's really stepped up the last week or two, and he's very much on ball. He's taking that on ball. He's not someone that's going to kick it out to a 3-point shooter. He's a dump off kind of, all right, I'm going to get to the basket. I'm going to dump it off to Geordie or to Jarrell. He's not going to look for DJ in the corner. He's not going to look for Tommy V in the corner, or he's going to get the bucket himself. And, Diddy's gone from 3 or 4 possessions to kind of 8 to 10 possessions a quarter. And so that's going to take away from DJ's kind of scoring as well. But don't get me wrong. Like, it's good to know that if you go down a man, there's a shooter and a scorer there to come back. But he'll be back, man. He racks up points pretty quickly. I do think they do have to set a few more pin downs for him.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a lot of pin downs in the high pick and roll at all, really. And I think it's the way that Perth defends as well. It's a little bit grabby. And we definitely saw a little bit more of that against Brisbane, and that was where he kind of racked up a few more points. But yeah, Perth's a hard one because, and you'll see through the videos, is that they get a bit grabby around screens and don't get called as much as probably we would or other teams would, and it's harder for DJ to get open on the curl against teams that able to do that, really.
And he's a young man, and Perth's obviously a front runner in this league, so you've got to, judge his performances at a higher level. Like he's only a young man; it's his first season, so playing against the better teams, you kind of got to just expect that. He might not have a big night, et cetera, like that. Shout out to your man Tommy V, 7 minutes on the night, 1 turnover, 5 fouls, +7 on the night, our highest plus minus.
Tommy V,
total all round package.
Mate, some of the fouls that he get called for are just atrocious. It's just like someone bounce off Tommy V, it's a flop foul. It is. It's just anyway.
And Jarrell. So Jarrell, the thing I wanted to note too is Didi played 34 minutes in this game. Jarrell played 35 minutes, or 35, or pretty much 36 minutes, and then Cass played 37 minutes. That's a huge minutes haul. And then we'll talk about the Brisbane game, but I thought it was a precursor to that kind of lackluster start to that Brisbane game we had in that first half. Casper Ware, he had 27 points, 12 of 20, 10 of 12 inside, and 2 of 8 from 3. The 3 ball wasn't really dropping. 4 assists to go with that. I thought his best performance against Cotton that I've seen in the last 2 seasons, maybe even going back to when they won the title with Melbourne type of thing.
Yeah.
And,
especially in Perth.
Important, like when you think about the context of that, you can't just, after 6 games where he hasn't got the wool over Cotton, he finally gets the wool over Cotton. You're just like, first try, how awesome is he? You kind of go, okay, that's one. Let's build on this. There's something here to work with. We've got a couple of games coming up against Perth. Let's see him extend on that, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully, he can play a game, that's similar, the next few games similar to this level and, continue on that streak. Because if he peaks in a final scenario, we're going to have to play against Perth to go through them to get any kind of trophy or any championship or anything like that. Jarrell Martin, 25 points on the night, 9 of 19, 7 of 25, playing through a lot of contact, 11 boards, 3 turnovers, a block as well. Top quality night. It's so good to watch, man. I love like old school inside big man play.
He's very much that kind of modern NBA power forward mid-range. Not a great rim protector, definitely a power forward over a center, but yeah, man, he's good to watch. He's definitely quality. This is his first contract outside the NBA, as they all tell me every single bloody telecast. Oh, this is Jarrell's first contract outside the NBA. He played in limited minutes in Memphis. Let's be real here. He's
it was eight off the bench. I think he was he?
Yeah, but he's going to be a top quality player anywhere else in the world. Anywhere he goes to Europe, he goes to Russia, he comes here, he's going to be a top 5 player anywhere else in the world because, unfortunately in the NBA, power forwards are a dime a dozen. It's really a guard-dominated shooters league at the moment. And so, that kind of style of play doesn't really suit the NBA, but, man, it suits our league to an absolute T. And
and that's an important point. Like, it's a shooters league and it's a scorers league too. And he's a unique scorer. Like, we've said this in the past that he's not just I'm a mid-range, I work in the mid-range, I shoot threes. Like, he's an inside guy, and it gives us another dimension. And I think part of the way this team functions is they have to kind of work out the ins and outs of having a guy that's an inside scorer like that. Shout out Craig Moore. You
Should I announce?
No, not yet. Okay. Keep that under wraps. Craig Moller, so everyone out there, another spoiler's coming later on. Craig Moller, shout out to him too. He had 12 points, 18 minutes, 5 of 7 from the field. A couple of fouls inside too, and one. He got 5 rebounds as well. He's been playing a lot better in the last few games. He's definitely raised his ceiling, and it's important for him down the stretch of this season to kind of go from having nobody to glue together with all the injuries to now it's like, oh, we're starting to get guys back, starting to get a bit of a rotation going where he can come off the bench and give us hustle.
His 3 balls dropping. If his 3 ball drops at 35%, which it's high now. It's just on low volume. Spoiler alert, Brisbane game, obviously everyone's watched it. But he's going to be a menace, man, because he gets sagged off so much. They leave him so much space. Because, Craig, take the shot. Take the shot. If they're going to have to start, really respecting that shot, then that's going to leave a lot of space on the inside for guys like Geordie, for guys like Tommy V, because there's less of that, clogged lane essentially. And some of the scoring rotations will open up a lot easier. It'll be a lot easier to score once they respect his 3-point shot. But yeah, man, he's been playing lights out and good. He's probably the hardest he's probably got the most heartlage out of anyone on that team, man. He goes hard, win, lose, down 20. He's still going pretty hard.
Tommy V's got a lot of heartlage as well.
Yeah, Tommy V's got heart.
Tommy V, 48% from 3 at the moment, and Craig Moller, 46% from 3, and DJ, 42% from 3.
Man, that's some good
to
shooting.
go from Craig Moller, I think he was at 18% or something, just lethal at the start of the season. Absolutely poisonous at the start of the season, him shooting threes. And yeah, for him to advance to that kind of level, like, it's great to see. Such a good dude too. The last thing I wanted to say, Diddy in this game, he didn't, like, it was a good game. He played really well. Didn't quite get the recognition it deserved. I thought, whilst he didn't score the ball, like we've just gone through the footage, whilst he wasn't scoring the ball, he was initiating a lot. He's doing a lot of more handling the ball, and I think that's really important. He kind of needs to take the ball now and just go, get out of my way. I'm gonna make some plays, and it might be good sometimes, it might be bad, but I think in this Perth game, he was doing a lot of like breaking the first press, and then it's like, I can play make left and right here. Something that DJ doesn't really have in his locker, I don't think, but at the same time, it's something I think DJ eventually will be able to do, break that first, like if he's on ball, he'll break that first kind of blitz and then be able to play make. Sean Bruce kind of did that for us a little bit last season. It's kind of been on ice a little bit this season. But yeah, I thought Diddy played really well and deserved a little bit of praise too for his ability to kind of get our offense going, which was really good. 3, 2, 1. Just there's another comment here. Sorry, I'll just read this out really quickly. Danielle Shaw replying to Paul. It's not only about Perth or Perth at home. Ford mentioned incidents against Southeast Melbourne, the Hawks as well. Just happens that the last 2 games were about against Perth, etc., etc. Yeah, the 50-50 calls going on reputation was a massive thing that we were talking about as well. So thanks for that comment too, Danielle. Shout out to people giving us comments. That's pretty cool. Like, hopefully keep that going. Let's act like we've been here before.
Yep.
And let's go into 3, 2, 1. Casper, definitely. Yep. Jarrell Martin.
And I'm gonna go Diddy. Diddy had a good game.
Did I put it Diddy or Luzana? Diddy. And I will also go Ware, Martin, Diddy. Craig Moller also ran. Unlucky not to get an also mention there.
Yep.
And sorry, I've been neglecting the 3-2-1 fan MVPs. I don't think I put one out for Perth or for Brisbane, so I'll try and keep that going because we've been getting a lot of people participating in that, and that's pretty good too. So let's quickly move to this Brisbane game rather.
It was Nathan Sobey.
Sobey, a very sober Sobey.
Very sober. Nathan Sobey featuring a disappointing featuring I think it was like 4 bigs and Nathan Sobey and Tamari Wigness, and it was just terrible.
We got a lot of Tamari Wigness. I like Wigness. I think he's going to be good. Like, he's going to have to develop physically a little bit. He's a little bit small, but
bit small. His shot mechanic is a bit Joe Ingles but he's only like 6 foot. It's weird.
I think he might be smaller than 6 foot actually.
Yeah, he's tiny compared to everyone else on the pitch.
But he's so quick and he's so like gets into spaces and stuff. So he can develop. If you can develop that as a smaller guard, I think you could possibly even make some.
Look, Sobey's having a killer year, but that game was over. Third quarter. It was kind of getting away from him. There's only so much Sobey can do on his own. A lot of injuries. No Vic Law, no Lamar Patterson.
Man, that boosted their chances in that game. No Lamar Patterson.
Yeah, that's probably true. No Vic Law didn't though. That's
but losing Vic Law because he's been really important to them, and no Drimich as well.
No flaming Drimich. Look,
Sobey played all 40 minutes of that game.
Yeah, man.
Holy moly, 31 points, 9 of 21. And it's just like a 3-piece and soda, and then you take an L. Thanks, mate.
It's like, why?
I think, what did you have, 36 against us in the last game? Yeah. It's like, sorry, mate, we ran up 120 on you. Have fun.
I feel bad. No, Sobey's got to be in the talk for MVP, man. He's been phenomenal. I mean, we don't rate him as a player, but he's had a phenomenal season. He's definitely got a faster shot mechanic. He's hitting the 3 ball. But this game was just too easy because of injuries and lack of scoring options from Brisbane. We played pretty terrible for the first half, but then Craig Moller just sinking 4 or 5 from beyond. Biggest night, 20 points, career high. My man for the 3 points.
Yeah.
It was just good. DJ came back, got into double-digit scoring. And Jarrell, had a great game. And it was kind of one of those games where I never really got into it because I just knew, Sydney's going to win this. It's kind of like, it's kind of like when we play the Breakers. It's just like you never really like, you're just like,
getting pumped up for it.
Yeah, just like, okay, yep, sweet, yep, all right, 3 minutes left. Oh, they're 20 up. All right, so you have a good night.
So I only listened to the first half because I was doing other stuff and I had to just listen to it, and just the perplexing nature of the commentary was still like, I can't believe Sydney. This is a horrible performance from Sydney. I can't believe it's a 2-point game. Like Brisbane are up 2 points at the half. Like this is crazy. And I think Sobey had, what did he have, like 20 in the first half or something like that, something crazy like that.
I don't think he scored in the third quarter at all, and that was
that's the death knell for that team. And then I think I watched a little bit of the second half as well, and it just wasn't a game where you were like, you know what, I have to just be in the pulse of this game. I was always just like, Vic Law's out and Drimich is out. We probably should be beating this team. Otherwise, I'm going to get really annoyed that we've lost this game.
Yeah, that was my feelings too. Yeah, no, I watched it. It was good. Just good to get the win after a couple of losses. Keep us in the hunt.
And over Brisbane too, which is one of the teams that's kind of around our position. It's good to get more wins over them, hand them some losses to push them down the table a little bit further. Looking at individual performances, Craig Moller, 17 minutes, 20 points, 8 of 12, 4 of 7 from 2, 4 of 5 from 3. Wow. 3 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, a turnover, and +4 on the night. Top quality stuff. Tommy V off the bench, 7 points, 1 of 2 from 3. Pretty solid stuff. What else we got? DJ, 13 points, sorry.
Had a couple of good. I think he had a couple of good back down buckets. Did old Tommy V?
Yeah, it was one back down over the shoulder, and then a nice 3 in the corner that was all cotton. DJ, 13 points, 5 of 11. Jarrell again, 7 of 15, 16 points, and then Casper Ware, 3 of 9, and then 1 of 5 from 3. I'm liking this year where Casper doesn't just barge his way to the front and just like, everyone stop scoring, I'm the one who's going to score. Like he kind of just goes, you know what, whatever. I'll chill. I played 37 minutes in the last game. You guys just fight it out and get the win for us. I kind of like that this season, and it'll be important if we get down to the business end of the tournament. We're obviously going to be looking at a bottom half of the playoffs seeding and scrapping for try and get to the finals. But I like that. At least he can kind of, take a step back and let the other guys fight it out. It's good.
Indeed.
Let's do 3, 2, 1. Yeah, not much more to say on that game, I don't think. What do you reckon?
No, I'm going to give it Moller.
Let me get over here. Moller, I think that's his first 3 of the season.
Moller.
Jarrell.
Yeah, I'm going to go Moller, Jarrell, DJ.
Yeah, same as me. Same with me. Put that in. That's all locked in. And yeah, we're going to do a half-season review very soon. And I think that'll be important for, what's just happening with the team, what's happening in general, the injuries, the roster issues, et cetera, stuff like that that's happening. Should we go quickly to tipping and then talk the next round?
Sure.
All right, we'll just go to tipping really quickly. I don't think there's been any changes. Have you heard of any changes in the last few days?
No.
It's locked in.
So it's all locked
that was, I think, your first L, Bullocks-Stradamus.
Yeah, man. I was surprised. Well done to tracking and tracing.
Yeah, nice work, Brisbane. Brisbane will get to go home and play some games at home and lose. All right, let's go Taipans at home to the 36ers. Tough one, man. Types? You're back on the Types train. I went 36ers. Tough loss, man. That loss against United was a tough one. They played quite well. Kings are at home to Southeast Melbourne.
Kings.
I think that's going to be a tough game for 3 and 4.
Yep.
The Southeast Melbourne have been in pretty good form as well. I feel like we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it. New Zealand Breakers at home to Brisbane, but they're in Melbourne.
I'm going to get Breakers.
Breakers. Ooh. NZB. Ooh, I've got Brisbane here. Man, I might have to check Drimich's injury status. Drimich injury status. 0 search returns. Who is Anthony Drimich? Nothing. I think I'll go Brisbane. just because Serbia might run up a nice. Oh no, they beat them the other day. Ooh. No, I'm gonna go New Zealand as well. This is gonna hurt if they lose. Perth at home to Illawarra.
I'm going to the Hawks.
Ooh. That'll be Perth's first loss in a while. I went Perth. I'm pretty happy with Perth to win that. Southeast Melbourne at home to Adelaide.
Southeast Melbourne.
I also went Southeast Melbourne. Kings at home to the Taipans.
Kings.
We should dispose of them pretty handily. Melbourne at home to the Hawks.
I'm going to go the Hawks.
Hawks. You're on the Hawks train. Double wins for the Hawks. That's not good for us if they win in 2 games in this game week. I went with Melbourne and then Perth at home to the Breakers.
Perth.
Yeah. Penciled that in before you even finished your sentence. And yeah, so that is tippings. Let's talk about the Southeast Melbourne team because they have been pretty good. But at the same time, you're just like, whoa, they're in 4th? Like, what the hell? I didn't even realize they were playing that well.
Yeah, man, Brokoff had a breakout game.
Yeah, finally did something. They busted him out of the hangar and, it was like, whoa, Spitfire, look out.
He's out of his quarantine basketball. Yeah, man, if he can fire, that is the best 6-man you can ever hope for in this league.
Yeah, for sure. Even, no, he didn't start, I don't think. Yeah, I think he'd be a mad 6-man just coming off the bench. Still dudes leaving him open and you're just like,
no.
What are you doing? Do you not watch the NBA? What the hell? It's Brokoff. What are you doing? So I'll be interested to see us because we're quite good at just left that guy open. Sorry, boys. Like we've been doing that a little bit this year. So I'm wondering if
6'7" as well. He's long, which I don't really know if we have a defender besides DD that could probably keep up with him on the perimeter. Because you can't really put DJ or Casper on him.
I think DJ as a body might keep pace with him, but he's definitely not going to contest shots.
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to put Diddy or Moller. I don't think Jerome.
Well, I don't know if Moller has the pace. But yeah, I think this Southeast Melbourne team is a little lot better than last year too.
Yep.
Mitch Creek's been okay, not fantastic, but it's not the sorry.
Other things on his mind.
Yeah. Oh, I was hoping we weren't going to elaborate and go into that, but the team isn't just Mitch, you got 40 minutes in you, mate. Can you just take every shot? Like, it's not that team anymore. And Kyle Adnam, man, has been really good as well. I like Wild Kyle. It's one of my favorites.
He's a fantastic scorer, but he's an absolute sausage on defense.
He's atrocious on defense. It's atrocious. That's very true. Which is kind of a way we've exploited them a little bit in the last few games. Casper can kind of get by him. Casper is kind of underratedly nuggety. He's kind of underratedly strong. And I've noticed he's been using his body a lot more this season to bump dudes, get to the basket, stuff like that. So hopefully he can do that. Who's their starting point guard?
Keeper Sykes.
Sykes, that's right. I think, he's injured, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, I think he is. He's only played 11 games this season. I'm pretty sure, he's still injured. And it's basically, been Adnam. Let me just go to their last game and have a look. And I watched that game too against the Breakers. Did that go to overtime? Nah. They did play a game against the Breakers that went into overtime. Their starting lineup was Adnam, Glidden, Tarangi, Wetzel, and Moore. Ben Moore. Wow. Ben Moore? No. Yeah, it is Ben Moore. Adam Gibson, Brokoff, and Creek. Creek came off the bench against the Breakers. I guess it's the Breakers. It's his return too. Tough game, man. Tough game. I think we want to win this game just for the to get the wood on them. They're 12-8, so it's not going to make any difference to the standings. But
we've got 16 games left. We've got to start racking up wins here.
Yeah, got to go on a run.
We've got to have a decent run down the stretch. It's not going to get any easier at this point as well.
What's going on? Why is it saying we're playing Perth? Are we playing Perth? Have I messed this up?
Have you?
No, we'll take that offline if we have to. I swear. Round 14. Anyway, we'll work that out. We could just be doing a whole spiel on Southeast Melbourne and the types. Totally prematurely. But are we playing Perth?
We're playing Perth on a Thursday, aren't we?
Yeah, maybe I messed that up. Sorry, people at home watching this and having to listen to me going, "Oh man, sorry, I completely stuffed this up."
Is it Perth, then Southeast Melbourne, and then Types?
Yeah, maybe they jammed a game in there that I didn't see. Sorry, I'm jumping between browsers here. Got to get to the fixtures. Round 14. I went off the picture in the thing. So Hawks, Bullets. Yeah, this is all over the place. Kings, Wildcats, Hawks, Southeast Melbourne. Wow, this is completely round 13. Yeah, okay, so I'm a round early. That's why. That's
We're gonna
next
go back
round.
and do our tipping then.
Yeah, all right. We'll just do a quick turbo tips later.
Well, we already know we spoke enough about Perth. We know exactly what to do to beat them. So there's that. And what's the second game this week?
The second game this week is against Southeast Melbourne.
Okay, so we've spoken about that as well.
Yeah,
that's gonna be hard coming off the back-to-back though.
I know. Really is. It's at home, man. Hopefully get some home cooking against Perth. Perfect time to drop this video then. Sweet, right before that game starts.
Yeah, we can all get people to see what's actually going on.
I have to get my editing socks on tomorrow, and then I have to cut that thing up. And yeah, I think that's about it really. Apart from me stuffing up those tips, sorry about that. We'll address that. But it was good to get some fan interaction, and also, yeah, make sure you keep your eye out for that video that's coming. Hopefully, I'm going to try and drop it maybe Thursday morning, pump everyone up for the game. Definitely be something to kind of watch of not only just, refereeing, but also I think there was some takeaways of how you can kind of get at Perth and, put them off their game. They are flying right now. So getting a win against them at home will be pretty important for us to then kind of back up against Southeast Melbourne. I think that would put us level with them on wins if we were to do that and beat the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. So hopefully we can do that. And yeah, we'll fix up the tips. Sorry about that. You can just fast forward through that, or you already fast forwarded through. You already through it now anyway. So sorry you had to listen to that. And I guess, yeah, as always, you can find us on Facebook. We do these live on Facebook. We are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and Spotify as well if you want to listen to us in audio form. And we will see you guys next time
on the King's Dime.